Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Jaya Radha Nila Madhvarade Jaya Radha Giridhari Radhe Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Vrindavana Dham Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Vrindavana Dham Jaya Nrsimhadev Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Nrsimhadev Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Nrsimhadev Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Nitya Chaitanya Chandra Nitai Gaura Chandra Gaura Hari Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva
Acharya Stotra Shata Krishna Kripamurti Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Iskcon BBT Samsthapaka Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Acharya Stotra Shata Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavandi Ki Namacharya Srila Das Thakur Ki Prem Se Kaho Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktabandi Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Vraja Bhumi Vrindavan Dham Ki Mayapur Dham Ki Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Ganga Mai Ki Yamuna Mai Ki Tulasi Devi Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Harinam Sankirtan Yagni Ki Shri Shri Radha Nila Madhava Ki Shri Shri Radha Giridhari Ki Shri Giri Govardhan Ki Shri Shri Prahlad Nrsimha Dev Ki Shri Panchatattva Ki Shri Shri Nitai Chaitanya Chandra Nitai Gaura Chandra Ki Srila Prabhupada Ki all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the Lord Spirit of Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Prabhupada 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 Srila Prabhupada 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 Srila Prabhupada Jai Shri Shri Radha Madhava Ashtasakya Vrinda ki Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki Srila Prabhupada ki Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for everyone who are here today and maybe those devotees who are online. So today we are reading from Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam, canto number 11, chapter number 12, and texts actually 12 and 13. Yesterday it was 10 and 11. So, but we will recite verse number 13 for recitation. For recitation, we'll recite number 13 first and then I'll go back. Okay, so please repeat after me. Matkāmāramanam jāram asvarūpavido balāha brahmamam paramam prāpuhu sangācchata sahasrashaha. Matkāmāramanam jāram asvarūpavido balāha brahmamam paramam prāpuhu sangācchata sahasrashaha. Matkāmāramanam jāram asvarūpavido balāha brahmamam paramam prāpuhu sangācchata sahasrashaha. Okay, please chant. Matkāmāramanam jāram asvarūpavido balāha brahmamam paramam prāpuhu sangācchata sahasrashaha. Matkāmāramanam jāram asvarūpavido balāha brahmamam paramam prāpuhu sangācchata sahasrashaha. Matkāmāramanam jāram asvarūpavido balāha brahmamam paramam prāpuhu sangācchata sahasrashaha. Matkāmāramanam jāram asvarūpavido balāha brahmamam paramam prāpuhu sangācchata sahasrashaha. Okay, we'll do word for word. Mat, me, kāmaha, those who desired, Ramanam, a charming lover, Jāram, the lover of another's wife, Asvarupa Vidaha, not knowing my actual situation, Abalaha, women, Brahma, the absolute, Mam, me, Paramam, supreme, Prapuhu, they achieved, Sangat, by association, Shata Sahasrashaha, by hundreds of thousands. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. All those hundreds of thousands of gopis, understanding me to be their most charming lover and ardently desiring me in that way were unaware of my actual position. Yet by intimately associating with me, the gopis attained me, the supreme truth. So before I read this purport, can we go to verse number 12, please? I will just read the Sanskrit, no need to repeat. Tanai vidanmai anusanga baddha diyasvamatmanamadastatedam yatha samadhau munayobdhito ye nadya pravishta ivanama rupe. Translation, my dear Uddhava, just as great sages in yoga trance merge into self-realization, like rivers merging into the ocean, and are thus not aware of material names and forms, similarly the gopis of Vrindavana were so completely attached to me within their minds that they could not think of their own bodies, or of this world, or of their future lives. Their entire consciousness was simply bound up in me. So let's go to the purport. Could somebody read the purport to verse number 12, please?
Words savam atman adastatedam indicate that while for ordinary persons, one's personal body is the most near and dear thing, the gopis considered their own bodies to be distant and remote, just as a yogi in samadhi trance considers ordinary things around his physical body or his physical body itself to be most remote. When Krishna played on his flute late at night, the gopis immediately forgot everything about their so-called husbands and children and went to dance with Lord Krishna in the forest. These controversial points have been clearly explained in the book Krishna by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The basic explanation is that Lord Krishna is the source of everything, and the gopis are the Lord's own potency. Thus, there is no discrepancy or immorality in the almighty personality of Godhead's loving affairs with its own manifest potency, the gopis, who happen to be the most beautiful young girls in the creation of God. There is no illusion on the part of the gopis, for they are so attracted to the Lord Krishna that they do not care to think of anything else. Since all existence is situated within the body of Lord Krishna, there is no loss for the gopis when they concentrate on the Lord. It is the nature of very deep love to exclude all objects except the beloved. However, in the material world, where we try to love unlimited temporary objects such as our nation, family, or personal body, our exclusion of other objects constitutes ignorance. But when our love is intensely concentrated on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the origin of everything, such concentration cannot be considered ignorance or small-mindedness. The example of the sages in Samadhi is given here only to illustrate exclusive concentration on a single object. Otherwise, there is no comparison between the ecstatic love of the gopis and the dry meditation of the yogis, who merely try to understand that they are not their bodies, their material bodies. Since the gopis had no material bodies to become detached from and were personally dancing with and embracing the absolute truth, one can never compare the exalted position of the gopis to that of mere yogis. It is stated that the bliss of impersonal Brahman realization cannot be compared to even an atomic fragment of the blissful ocean of love of Krishna. Intimate attachment is like a strong rope that binds the mind and heart. In material life, we are bound to that which is temporary and illusory, and therefore such binding of the heart causes great pain. However, if we bind our minds and hearts to the eternal Lord Krishna, the reservoir of all pleasure and beauty, then our hearts will expand unlimitedly in the ocean of transcendental bliss. One should understand that the gopis were not in any way inclined toward impersonal meditation, in which one denies the reality of variegated creation. The gopis did not deny anything. They simply loved Krishna and could not think of anything else. They only rejected whatever impeded their concentration on Lord Krishna, cursing even their own eyelids, which blinked and thus removed Krishna from their sight for a split second. Srila Rupa Goswami has stated that all sincere devotees of the Lord should have the courage to remove from their lives anything that impedes their progressive march back home, back to Godhead.
Thank you. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yatkripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramanandamadhavam Shri Krishna Chaitanyam Ishwaram Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Hanumat Preshaka Swamin Niti Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So these verses are being spoken by who? Who is speaking these verses? Lord Krishna himself is talking, right? We come to temple, we express our prayers to Krishna, and here Krishna is talking. But because Kartik is over, no one is here. Well, there are devotees here, but not as many as there were in Kartik. So Bhagavatam, right? So, and particularly this section of Bhagavatam, Krishna is directly speaking. And now Krishna is speaking about his highest devotees, the gopis. They are the highest devotees of the Lord. So there are so many things in these purports, in the verse. The first thing I wanted to point out is Swam Atmanam Adastatedam. Ada and Idam. These Sanskrit words, when you say Idam, means you're talking about this world. And Tat, or sometimes others, can refer to the other world. Om Purnamada Purnamidam. Adas and Idam were there also. Okay? So here also you see Adastatedam. So the gopis, they were not aware of neither this nor next. They were simply aware of Krishna, fully absorbed in Krishna. And now, as far as Krishna is concerned, in the verse that we chanted, Mat Kama Ramanam Jaram. They desired Krishna, charming, Ramanam. But who is Krishna? Jaram. It's a bad word. Paramour. They desired Krishna, and Krishna is their paramour. And what is this? Is Krishna immoral, unethical? Is a rascal? Now we have to go back to Bhagavad Gita to properly understand what's happening. Namam karmani limpanti name karma phalaspriha itimam yobijanati karma bhirna sabhadyate. Krishna says, Namam karmani limpanti. He is not entangled by karma, and he is not interested in the fruits of activities. When Krishna does something, he is not bound. Every action has a reaction, but anything Krishna does, there's no problem. The outcome is only what he wants, and that's it. He is not bound because of that action. But whereas in the material world, when people do action, karma, it will bind him. And karma means that which gives them another body and binds them into this material world. But for Krishna, there is nothing like that. So Krishna's activities we cannot judge using the material, conceptions that we have. And those who understand this properly, they will also be liberated from karma. Krishna, the name of Krishna itself is so liberating. And how can Krishna's actions be binding? That person's name itself liberates us from all sorts of bondage. Then how can we say what he is doing is something of this material world? So in order to understand what's going on, we need to first understand what is this world, who is Krishna, who are we, who are gopis. It's a big topic. So the gopis, they are not ordinary conditioned souls. Gopis are liberated souls. They are actually coming from the spiritual world, most of them, and some of them are advancing and reviving their Krishna consciousness. So the first thing is Krishna is not bound, right? And then when we talk about the relationship, you must have heard many times that there are many relationships that we have with the Supreme Lord. So what we see in the material world, the relationship between a man and a woman, this is actually very binding relationship. And people think, actually the atheists, asatyam apratishtam te jagadahur anishwaram aparaspara sambhutam kimanyad kamahaitukam. So the atheist thinks, asatyam apratishtam te, this world has no basis, it is unreal, it has no cause, and it's just running by sexual relations. Kamahaitukam, the only reason is lust. So this is the basic idea of the material existence, is this lust, kama. And also, this material world, in chapter 15, Krishna describes this as a reflection of a banyan tree. Okay, in chapter 15, if you can pull up chapter 15, verse number 3 and 4. 15, 3, 4. Narupamasyeha tatopalabhyate nantam cha nadir nacha sampratishta ashvattamenam suvirudamulam asanga shastrena dhrudena chitva tatapadam tat parimargitavyam yasmin gata na nivartanti bhuya tameva chadyam purusham prapadye yata pravritti prasrita purani narupamasyeha tatopalabhyate. This material world is a reflection, but the real form of this tree cannot be found in this world. Narupamasyeha tatopalabhyate nancham nadi, nancham na chadi, nacha sampratishta. We cannot find the beginning or end or the foundation of this tree. But still, asanga shastrena dhrudena chitva, through the process of detachment, we have to cut down. Through the weapon of asanga shastra, by the weapon of detachment, we have to cut down this tree. And then what do we do after that? Tatapadam tat parimargitavyam. Then we have to go to that abode. Yasmin gata na nivartanti bhuyaha. After going there, there is no coming back. So we should go to that abode and then do what? Tameva purusham. Tameva chadyam purusham prapadye. There we have to surrender unto that supreme original personality of Godhead, from whom everything is emanating. So that is the goal. The goal of life is to practice detachment and surrender unto that Supreme Lord from whom everything came. And who is that Supreme Lord? So that is the goal. You have to give up everything and surrender to Krishna through the process of detachment. And what did gopis do? Tameva chadyam purusham prapadye. You have to surrender to that original Purusha. Asanga shestrena, through the weapon of detachment. So the gopis are detached, the most detached from anything else in this world. And they went running to Krishna. Now, is there a problem with that? That's what the Shastra is prescribing. But why? Why the people in general are confused with this? Because we identify with this material lust. Srila Rishabhadev, in Canto 5, Chapter 5, verse number 8, he's teaching his 100 sons. And 9 of those sons spoke in the beginning of this 11th canto, Navayogendras. And Rishabhadev is telling, and Partha, if you can pull 558 of Bhagavatam. So there Rishabhadeva instructs his sons, Pumsastriya mituni bhavametad tayor mito hridaya grandhi mahur ato griha kshetra sutapta vittair janasya mohoyam aham mameti. The foundation in this material world is this Pumsastriya mituni bhavam, the attraction between male and female. This is the basic principle of material existence, right? And that is the cause of everything. And on the basis of this one, there is a Hridaya Granthi. What is the meaning of Hridaya Granthi? The knots in our heart. We get married, my wife. Right? And then what do you need before you get married? No one will get married if you don't have a place to live. Right? Griha kshetra sutapta vittai. You need a house. And generally, the grihastha occupation, you have some agricultural lands and cows. So kshetra, these fields. Griha kshetra suta, sons, children, daughters. Apta, then you have community. Vittai, other wealth and things. So these are the Hridaya Granthis. These are the knots. We become attracted to all these things. Home, property, children, relatives and wealth. And in this way, what happens? Aham mameti. Me and mine. We develop these conceptions of me and mine, and that is the bondage that's being caused in our heart. And how can that bond be broken? What is the means of breaking that bond? In the beginning of Bhagavatam, Nashta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavatyuttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. And then how does it continue? That section continues actually with Srinivatam Swakata Krishna and eventually goes to Bhidyanti Hridaya Grandhis, Chidyanti Sarva Samshayaha, Kshiyanti Chasya Karmani Drishta Evatmanishvare. So, Tada Rajastamo Bhava, then the passion and ignorance is gone. After that you come into the mode of Sattva Guna. And then eventually, probably verse number 21, which says, Bhidyate Hridaya Grandhi. This verse was talking about, the Rishabhadeva's verse was talking about the Tayor Mitaha Hridaya Grandhi Mahu. The connection between Purusha and Stri, that kind of forms this Hridaya Grandhi. But Bhidyate Hridaya Grandhi. But the goal is to break that Hridaya Grandhi. How do you break? Through the process of Srinivatam Swata Krishna Nashta Prayeshu Tadarajastamo Bhava. We gradually, by hearing Krishna's holy names, attending Srimad Bhagavatam, chanting the holy names of the Lord, then Bhidyate Hridaya Grandhi, this knot is cut to pieces, pierced. Chidyante Sarva Samshaya. We have all these doubts. What are gopis doing with Krishna? What is this right? Is this wrong? We have so many doubts. It is because we have this Hridaya Grandhi in our heart. Because we have the desires of kama, lust in our heart. Therefore we are confused. But when, through properly understanding who we are, when we conquer this ignorance, passion, and even so-called goodness, then what happens? This Hridaya Granthi, this knot will break. And at that time, all the misconceptions, all the doubts we may have, they will go away. And kshiyanti chasya karmani, our previous reactions of our sinful activities, everything will be destroyed. At that time, we can see the Supreme Lord in our heart. Drishta eva atmani ishvare. The translation may say that one sees oneself as the Lord. Go back a little down. One sees the self as master. But there's another deeper meaning to that, is one sees, in your mind you see Krishna. Atmani ishvare drishta. You see Krishna at that time. So this is the process. And what is the fault of the gopis? They have gone through all this. Their Hridaya Granthi is broken. They are going to Tameva Purusham Prapadye. They are surrendering to that Purusha. They are seeing only Krishna and nothing else. Just like a Muni, just like the yogis in Samadhi. They are only seeing Krishna. And what does yogis do? To get to the point of Samadhi, they practice yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dhyana, dharana, dhyana, samadhi, all these things. So gopis don't have to do that. They are not going to sit down and going. Right? Krishna is already there. They are just being pulled towards Krishna. Just like the yogis in Samadhi, fully absorbed in Krishna. No matter, and yogis have to struggle and run away from the society. But gopis, while they are churning butter, they can meditate on Krishna. While they are doing their family affairs, they can meditate on Krishna. And as soon as Krishna plays on his flute, magnet, they get pulled towards Krishna. And this is the highest bhakti. So we need to understand this difference between what is lust and what is love, what is kama and what is prema. What gopis are manifesting is prema, not kama. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, while explaining the reasons for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance, Chaitanya Charitamrita Adilila, chapter number 4, verse number 165. In there, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains that Atmendriya Pritivancha Tare Boli Kama, Krishnendriya Priti Icha Dhare Prema Nama. Atmendriya Pritivancha, the desire to satisfy our own senses. Tare Boli Kama. This is called kama, lust. The desire to satisfy our own senses. This is called lust. And Krishnendriya Pritivancha, Dhare Nama Prema. Krishnendriya Priti Icha, the desire to satisfy the senses of Krishna. This is called prema. This is called love. So generally our desire is to satisfy our own senses, not Krishna's senses. And even using Krishna we want to satisfy our senses. This is our mood. So the gopis, whatever they do is to give pleasure to Krishna. Not only gopis, but from the beginning of all the rasas, whether it is dasya, sakhya, vatsalya, and what to speak of madhurya, the highest mellow that one can exchange with Krishna. One time Hanumanji, he went to Mother Sita, he saw Mother Sita is putting this red dot. Hanumanji asked, Mata, what is this red dot? Why are you putting this? He says, oh, I am putting this because it pleases Lord Ram. Oh, really? Okay. And next day, Hanuman came and he smeared his whole body with this red color. And Sri Ramji is looking at Hanuman, what is this? He says, Lord Ram, are you pleased? Are you pleased? Are you happy? Like, what's going on? He says, Sita Mata said she put something red dot here and she said she does that to please you. So now I put the whole thing. Are you pleased? This is the innocence of Hanumanji. And actually, if you go to Hanuman temples, he's smeared with all this red thing, and from his feet, devotees take and then they put it. So all the devotees, their goal is only one thing, to please Krishna. And the gopis manifest the highest mood of this thing, is how to please Krishna. Whatever they do, whether they dress up, whether they sing, whether they dance, whatever they do is simply to please Krishna and nothing else. And then someone may ask, is it like self-suicide? You don't have any identity? No. Actually, when we serve Krishna, even without the intention, we are satisfied. Again, going back to the first canto, second chapter. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radokshaje ahaitukya pratihata yayatma suprasidati. 126 of Srimad Bhagavatam. The highest occupational duty that we can perform is simply execute devotional service to Krishna. What kind of devotional service? Ahaituki apratihata. No hetu, no other reason that I want this, I want that. Causeless. Apratihata, unbroken. When we pour honey from a bottle, how is the stream? It's continuous, it's clear, it's nicely flowing from the honey bottle. And that's the apratihata, unbroken stream continuously. And that is the gopis' love for Krishna. And naturally it completely satisfies the self. In illusion, we identify with the body, we identify with the material senses, and we try to satisfy these material senses, but they are never satisfied. It looks like they are satisfied, but that satisfaction doesn't last long. And even that satisfaction we don't even have the ability for that satisfaction. It's a very gross thing, but even material sexual relationship of a man and women, once they are done, it's disgusting. They lose the taste for it. There's a vairagya, they develop a sense of detachment after that, but again it seems attractive to them. And it is just yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukkha yonaya evate adyantavanta kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. This enjoyment that is derived by contact of material senses with material object, and the highest of which is the sexual pleasure. Yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukkha yonaya evate. This is the source of misery. Adyantavanta kaunteya. There's a beginning and end to this kind of pleasure. Nateshu ramate buddha. Intelligent people do not take pleasure in this kind of thing. And this is the kama. But prema, love of Krishna, is not happening on the material platform. Srila Prabhupada said this is not the sexual pleasure that people talk about in this material world. So I talked about this reflection in the material world. When you have a reflection, the top is at the bottom and the bottom is at the top. So in the spiritual world, this conjugal mellow of Radha and Krishna is at the top. But when it is reflected, it is so gross in the material world, just like a reflection of a tree. So we need to give up this gross sensual pleasure find the root, chop it off, identify who the Supreme Lord is, then surrender unto Him. And the gopis have all done that. And then they are approaching Krishna in this mode of pure love. So therefore, this is the highest love, highest relationship called prema. And this prema is actually what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu considered to be the topmost. Jai Shri Shri Radha Neela Madhava ki Jai, Nitai Chaitanya Chandra Nitai Gauri Chandra ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Giridhari ki Jai, Giri Govardhan ki Jai, Prahlad Narsingh Dev ki Jai, Panch Tattva ki Jai, Guru Parampara ki Jai. So this prema is the highest thing. So then still someone may blame the gopis. They may blame, oh, this is wrong what gopis are doing. But okay, for them still there is another answer. Is Krishna, when he calls upon the gopis and when the gopis came for the rasa dance, actually all the gopis were situated in their homes. Their bodies were in their homes, so-called external forms, they left. But actually they came to Krishna in their spiritual bodies. And in that spiritual bodies, they danced with Krishna. They did not do with material bodies. Srila Prabhupada explains this in Krishna book. So where is the fault of the gopis? If you can go with your spiritual body, you can go anywhere you want. But you cannot. The gopis can do that. And another point, Bhagavad Gita 15:15. Again.
Atta smritir jnanam apohanam sham vidaischa sarvar ahaheva vidyo vidanta kritveda videva chaham.
Sarvasya chaham hridisannivishta. How can you escape from Krishna? He is situated right in the core of your heart. I'm sorry, he is situated in everybody's wife's heart, Krishna. Huh? He already entered deeply in the hearts of all the living entities. So what's the problem? The gopis are going to Krishna. He is already there in their hearts. Are you going to pierce, chop off and remove Krishna from hearts? He is the Supreme Lord. He is the most pure, purest of the pure. Actually, everything that we have in this world, it doesn't belong to us. One time, when somebody said, oh, Krishna has danced with others' wives. And Prabhupada said, rascal, what are you doing with Krishna's wife? All the living entities, we are all what? Krishna's Prakriti. Apareyamitastvanyam viddhime prakritim param jiva bhuta mahabaho yayedam dharyate jagat. The living entities are actually Krishna's para-prakriti. Krishna has two energies. One is the energy of these material elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, ego. These are the separated energies of Krishna. But the living entities are the superior energies of Krishna. We are the superior energy and Krishna is the energetic. So we all belong to Krishna. In this life, this person is your husband. In the next life, someone else. In the previous life, you are someone else's husband. In these material bodies. But as spirit souls, we are neither a man, neither a woman. We are not this material body of a man, male or a female. This is just a covering. So therefore, we cannot impose this materialistic idea of relationship of Krishna and gopis to something that the mundane thing that we see in this material world. So it is very important to understand these concepts of what it is. So in the next verse, in verse number 13, Mat kama ramanam jaram aswarupa vidobalaha. This particular word, aswarupa vidaha, it is the Swarupa means form. Aswarupa means not knowing the form. Aswarupa means no form. Aswarupa vidaha means not knowing the actual form. So here it is said the gopis, they did not actually know Krishna's situation, who Krishna is. So we may say, well, the gopis did not know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He just thought he's some other young beautiful man, young beautiful boy, and therefore they went. But the point is, actually the gopis, the reason why they did not have this mood of Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead is because of Krishna's potencies. Krishna has a Shakti, potency called Yogamaya. And the duty of Yogamaya is to enhance the pastimes of Krishna. So in order to make the gopis forgetful of this Aishwarya Bhava of Krishna, in Vrindavan, she covers everybody, not just the gopis. Mother Yashoda also doesn't know that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. He just thinks, this is my son. If I don't train him properly, he will turn out to be a rogue and thief. So therefore I must discipline him. That's the motherly protective nature. And the cowherd boys, they think Krishna is just one of their friends. They play tug of war. They have a rope on two sides. They're pulling on both sides, Krishna on one side and other cowherd boys on another side. And guess what? Krishna loses. And then Sri Ram comes, Krishna, you lost. And therefore you have to carry me on your shoulder. And Krishna says, we have to play this game again. He says, why? Because there's some problem in the game. What's the problem? When we were pulling, and actually I was kind of pulling like this, and under my feet there was a banana peel. And I stepped on it, and I skid, and you guys won. Therefore we have to play again. And Sridhama slaps Krishna. You rascal, you're cheating, you lost, therefore you got to carry me. And he pushes him down, he puts his feet on Krishna, climbs on Krishna and said, go. You are the horse, I am riding you. Chalo Goda. Keep going. Imagine that, going to Nila Madhava and doing that. We cannot do that. But that can only happen with the assistance of Yogamaya for the pure devotees. And Krishna enjoys that. So on an equal footing with Krishna, his friends, the gopis, they relate to him on an equal footing. This is how they become one with the Lord, not the impersonal merging. The example of the yogis and the example of the river flowing towards the ocean. These examples are Nadyaha Pravishta Ivanama Rupe. This Ganga, Yamuna, Saraswati, Tungabhadra, Narmada, Kaveri, they're all flowing towards the oceans, and they merge into the ocean, they lose their names. So similarly the gopis are flowing, they're running, their consciousness is flowing, they're going, and they are also becoming one with Krishna, but not in an impersonal way, but in this way of relating as an equal with Krishna. That can only happen with the assistance of Yogamaya. Therefore they forget that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. It looks like the mundane affairs of young boys and girls. So, but if we understand this properly through the acharyas, then the lusty desires in our hearts will also be destroyed. This is the power. But if we wrongly interpret these things and try to imitate, then the destruction is guaranteed. Srila Shukadeva Goswami tells Maharaj, Parikshit is surprised. He asked, how come this happens? How is, for our sake? And Shukadeva Goswami explains that we should not even think of these things in our dream, imitating of these things even in our dream. Lord Shiva, we have seen in parallel churning of the ocean is going on. Milk ocean. And what came out? This Kalakuta, poison has come out. And Lord Shiva drank that poison. If we say, I'm going to drink the poison, I'll be like Lord Shiva. What happens? Psh, a drop is enough. A drop will be destroyed. So even in dream, if we think of imitating this Krishna's Parakiya Rasa, will be destroyed. So we need to properly understand these things. And we can simply worship Krishna. If we are fortunate, we can receive the mercy of Srimati Radharani and the gopis. If we have good fortune, we can at least properly understand. And another way to understand this is all spiritual is our acharyas. They were not in female bodies. They were in male bodies. But internally, they were actually manjaris in their spiritual forms. Little girls assisting gopis in the spiritual world. So these things, why Krishna is talking here? Because he's establishing, he's teaching Uddhava what is the highest form of bhakti, so much so that Uddhava aspires to be a blade of grass in Vrindavan Dham. Now we may say, what can a blade of grass do? You can receive the dust from the lotus feet of gopis. And one time my Guru Maharaj explained that Uddhava can be a grass in Rasa Leela, and when Radharani is dancing, and she may, in those fast dance moves, she may get tired or may miss a step, but Uddhava from underneath her feet can give her a little push and she can get make a right move. And she may wonder, Krishna may, wow, that's a great move, Radha. Right? So assistance can be provided in many different forms. And that's the assistance the acharyas are doing. Nikunja yuno ratikeli siddhyai yaya libhir yuktirapekshaniya tatrati dakshyadati vallabhasya vande guru shri charanaravindam. So these acharyas who are in this mood, Nikunja yuno ratikeli siddhyai, in the groves of Sri Vrindavan, pleasure groves of Sri Vrindavan, where the divine couple are performing pastimes, for the intensification, for the pleasure of those pastimes, yaya libir yuktirapekshaniya, whatever is desired by the alibihi, means the gopis, the friends of Krishna and Radha, whatever they are desiring, spiritual master will assist in their desires. He is providing, just like the garlands are being made according to the taste, the spiritual master's instruction, who is doing it according to the instructions of the Radharani and the gopis on how to please Krishna, how to make a garland. So our role is to simply provide assistance in these pastimes of the Lord, whatever those pastimes may be. So I'll stop here. Any questions or comments from anyone?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I was just thinking that one strongly desire to be pure, and however, like you're in this world, and you practice devotional service.
Can you speak a little loud and close?
You practice devotional service, and you feel you're doing some progress, and then suddenly, boom, your mind still comes and want to enjoy Krishna's energy.
Mm-hmm.
How do we give up this, at least this hidden desire for sensual pleasure?
So we have a desire to enjoy. The first way to do is by giving up the results of our action to Krishna. Learn to give the fruits of our actions to Krishna. If we look at deep, actually our attachment is also for the activity, not just the result. We also And that is coming from our nature. So we have to find out what our nature is and dovetail that nature to perform righteous activities, activities that are prescribed by Shastra, and then start offering those results to Krishna. And also trying to receive Krishna's prasadam, even if it is in the mode of enjoyment. In the beginning, it's okay. Prabhupada used to keep rasgullas to attract these young boys and girls, right? So it's okay in the beginning, we can relish this prasadam. And it's not that we become dumb. The idea is enjoying separately with Krishna, that is the problem. But when we connect with Krishna, there is natural pleasure, like 1 to 6 of Bhagavatam. So when we do that for the pleasure of Krishna, naturally we start getting this higher taste. So when this param drishtva nivartate, rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate, we can give up not doing things, but it is not possible. Better do them for Krishna, and then gradually you will experience param drishti. And then the lower taste will go away. And also we must have patience, because it has been long time. We have these conceptions. So they will come back immediately. If you just leave devotees and go to your old friends, it will pop up. Why? Because the seeds are there. Sometimes even the creepers are, the plant is there, but the fruits are not there, so it will pop up. So that's why the most important thing is to stay in the association, and whatever our nature is, engage that nature and try to do those things that will give you happiness in devotional service in the beginning, right? Fine, there's so many things. What is it that motivates me? What is it that gives me enthusiasm? And try to be in that atmosphere in Krishna consciousness. And as we advance, then we can more do what is necessary, what is pleasing to Krishna, right? We can move forward like that. Thank you. Good question. Any other comments, questions from anyone? Yes, Prabhupada.
In the beginning, I think it was in the purport of 12, where they said Krishna encompasses everything.
Yes.
So exclusive meditation on Him, there's no loss.
Yes.
And that was really reassuring, because when we chant, so many things pop up in our mind that I have to do or that I have problems with. And at least for myself, I often think by thinking about them, I'm figuring them out so that I can be a better devotee. But that's not our process at all.
Yes.
If I simply focus on Krishna and the holy names, I give it to Him, He purifies me, He brings me to my original state, which is free from those.
Yeah.
It's sweet, there's no loss.
Yes. Actually, that's the best way. Best way is because it happens to me all the time because of my jnana nature, which is detrimental. I'll be chanting and I'm like, which verse? This verse, that verse, that verse. Hold on. Right? But the holy name is so powerful. Vidyavadu jivanam. In the holy name, there is knowledge. Cheto darpanam arjanam, it cleanses the heart, it gives pleasure, but it also gives knowledge. And that knowledge which comes out of chanting holy names is extremely powerful. Gaur Kishore Das Babaji was chanting all the time, but you ask him any question, perfect answer. He hits goal every time. One shot, right? Goal. Right? That's Gaur Kishore Das. Why? Because of his attraction to holy name. So therefore, all this knowledge is simply meant to give taste in the holy name. And if you have taste in the holy name, all knowledge will come. Everything is included in Krishna. So hold on to that realization. Don't let it go. We have to be reminded every day. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says in the 14 worlds, there is nothing greater than the holy name. Start with Patala, Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Tala, Atala, Patala, Bhurbhuva Swaha, Janaloka, Tapoloka, Maharloka, Satyaloka. You go all the 14 planetary systems, there is nothing greater than the holy name of the Lord. Nothing. But because we are such a rascals, great rascals, we have to be convinced with logic and attractions. Prabhupada gave all these books. Jai Shri Shri Radha Nila Madhava ki Jai. Nitai Chaitanya Chandra Nitai Gaur Chandra ki Jai. Radha Giridhari ki Jai. Giri Govardhan ki Jai. Prahlad Nrsimha Dev ki Jai. Panchatattva ki Jai. Guru Parampara ki Jai. Anything else? Anyone? Anyone is holding to say something? Kirsten? Yes.
Just still meditating on lust and love, service and selfishness. And if you ever have the question of if I'm being lustful in this situation or if this activity is filled with love, we just have to reassess if it's for my own selfish desires or for the love of the other person, like the service I have to do for them or for Krishna. So yeah, that's something I'll take away.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. You summarized it nicely. We simply have to ask, why am I doing what I am doing? What's my motivation? We have to ask that ourselves every single day, what's my motivation? Thank you for that. Okay. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Samaveta Bhakta Vrind ki Jai.